Welcome back to the Cuzn Collective with your girl Monet
and your girl Capri, and we are here to talk about everything life, love, relationships, all of that.
All of that.
So a couple of weeks ago, I feel like it's been a couple of weeks ago, I came across something on, I think it was the Shade Room. They be posting some stuff while I be crying. A girl said a man, and I'm reading this verbatim, so that is, I know my grammar is not always on point, but this is reading verbatim. A man not supposed to cook, wash dishes, or wash his clothes if he got a woman with the heads.
Girl, bye.
A man not supposed to cook, wash dishes, or wash his clothes if he has a woman. Why are we associating household chores to women in 2021? Why?
Tell us, cousins. Why?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
It's not. But
there's more to us than washing your stank ass drawers. Cleaning up after you.
I am not your slave.
I am not your slave.
I'm just saying, because that's
not your
what I get from that, right?
Yeah, it's giving slavish. It's giving
if you're not with a slave, then you need to find another one.
Right, like
that's what I get from that.
Because this is not it. This is not it. I was like, girl.
Because that's what you only hear people talk about when they talk about a good woman. Can she cook? Can she clean?
Right. What do you bring to the table?
What do you bring to the table? Like, what you bring to the table?
Period.
I might have to bleep that word out.
Girl.
What do you bring to the table?
That's just how you know it's real.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm just so over the gender role thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be a hypocrite for a moment and say, I feel like the man should take out the trash. That's it. I said it, and I'm going to stand beside it. Okay? I personally don't like taking out the trash. I will, but I don't like it, and I just feel like, yes, you take trash out. Why? I don't know. I just don't. I just don't.
I'm there.
I don't mind doing anything else in the house.
Yeah.
But just because I am a woman, and again, this is me being contradictory because of what I just said, and I understand that, and I stand on it. But for real, me being a woman doesn't mean all I know how to do is take care of home. There are so many more layers to us.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's so before women's rights ish. You know?
Yeah. But
oh, so my go ahead.
I think it puts us all in a box. It puts a woman in a box, and it puts a man in a box. So
also,
for me, I believe that gender roles are only based upon our perception of a man versus a woman. Meaning, people typically look at a woman as being gentle, warm, selfless, emotional, relationship-oriented. The men are assertive, independent, goal and achievement-oriented, and strong.
Right.
But who said that they both can't be both?
Period. Why do I keep saying that? It's true.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
But we were conditioned that way.
That's how we were taught, right?
Right. You think about it, not even just at home, like your parents or whatever, the people who raised you. But look at TV shows, The Brady Bunch, Cosby Show.
Well, I don't know about the Cosby Show now.
I mean, but she still was a woman who was, to me, she still had a career, but she still was.
But she ain't
handling all the things. I'm not saying she was quiet.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say there weren't gender roles with her and him, the husband. But her son-in-law, he was a mess. Yeah. But she had to get him together.
Yeah.
They did believe in equality. I will say that. But you typically do see, and then that's just how people used to live. The woman used to take care of the home. Women had no rights. What else were they gonna do?
Yeah.
They had no rights. Even if they weren't slaves, they had no rights. They couldn't have a bank account. They couldn't do this. They couldn't do that. They couldn't vote. But that was then.
Yeah, but even so, I just thought about this. Even to your point, like even if they show the mother and the father being equal in the home, they still kind of make it seem like the dad can't do it as good as mom.
Well, yeah,
like the dad cook dinner and he fails at cooking dinner. Like why you gotta fail at cooking dinner? You know
I think that kind of is that's the children.
The children.
That's because even like we say sometimes, your kids, their dad can be sitting on your head and they'll come to you. Dad'll do something because they're just so used to because we are the nurturers.
Right.
We are the caretakers. I mean, that's just how we are designed. And I get that. But I'm just like, there's just so much more. And I just get so tired of women feeling, like you say, boxing themselves in as if that's all you have to offer to a man or a woman, whoever you're in a relationship with. Because, you feel like the man is the only one to be able to take care of the finances. Well, there are a lot of relationships where the woman takes care of the finances because she's better at finances than he is.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you are just better at something or you enjoy doing something more, then in a relationship, in a home, let that be your primary task. Not saying that you are the only person in there to do it. Like I said, I don't like to take trash out.
Right.
I'm gonna just say I don't want to take trash out, but I will. Right. But
it ain't your preference.
It's not a preference.
Same here. Yeah.
And I mean, people are gonna say, well, it's a preference too, but I just feel like it goes a little deeper than that because there are really women out here who feel like that's all they have to offer.
Yeah.
And then to go a little further, there are women out here who know that they have more to offer, but they're stuck in this cycle where this is how they enter the relationship. So they're trying to upkeep the relationship and do the things that they were doing in the beginning, and they're miserable. They're not able to do the things that they want to do for themselves, reach their goals. And a lot of them get pushback from their husband because they want to now go do something more. And sometimes I've seen where it has ended relationships, marriages, because I now see that I want to do something more with myself. And he's like, well, you won't like that in the beginning. Well, you shouldn't be. You should not be the same person 10 years into a relationship that you was 10 years before.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well now I don't want to. Now I want to be home washing dishes and washing your drawers every day.
Right.
I want to go to college. I want to go, take up a hobby. I want to start a business or whatever. But it's just like looked at as women have to be, they can only be put in this box for a lot. I'm not gonna say everybody, but if, there's a great deal of people out there who still believe that, and it's just like, snap out of it.
Yeah, and then I mean, on the flip side too, like we look at, not me, but most people, because I don't look at men as they can't be the emotional person in the relationship.
Right.
So then when they have a moment, then they're weak.
They can't cry.
Like what?
I taught my sons you can definitely cry.
Definitely.
Now, I don't want a clingy man. That's
but
me.
then that leads to aggression, right? Because they're holding all that stuff in forever. You know what I'm saying? So like, when are we going to stop? Literally stop. We're all human, right?
Period.
But when are we going to start separating each other from having these different qualities like I named? Why can't a man be gentle and warm and selfless and emotional?
Right.
Why can't a woman also be assertive and independent?
I was voted assertive in high school.
And then they'd be looking at you like an angry black woman.
I'm an angry black woman because I know what I want and I speak up. Right. Passion, is from a black woman's standpoint, is anger to some people. And going back to your point, as a man, it's just like you teach them that it's not okay to show emotion and to not deal with their feelings. They don't want to go to therapy. Then, like you say, they end up with all of this stuff built in. They end up taking it out on because they have problems with women or their mother or whoever, women molested. Because a lot of that stuff, as far as men, when it comes to them attacking women or being disrespectful to women, that kind of stems from something in their childhood. Not an excuse, but it's just the reality. And not getting help for that, because it's a stigma in the black community to get therapy. And especially if you're a man, men are just like, I am happy to see that more men are open, especially the ones that I see on social media. Kudos to y'all. But it's just like, I just wish that it was that whole idea of what goes on in the home stays in the home, and we ain't gonna talk about this and we ain't gonna talk about it, because you're teaching, you know, not just the boys but your little girls that, well, you're teaching the boys that it's just not okay to have emotion, to show emotion. And as far as therapy, I mean, some women do feel like they don't have to go to therapy either, because black people don't go to therapy. I'm gonna go and just talk to God about it. And yes, that's part of it. But you still need a professional, because he put these people here to help us.
Yeah.
So it's like you need the tools to help you navigate through these feelings and these emotions. But if you believe that, if you have this way of thinking that tells you that because of who I am as a person in this society, I don't need that. It's like,
yeah, what
the heck? But yeah, that got under my skin. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? No. So I don't. They were going in on the comments, but as they always do. But there were some people who agree. They feel like also that's the way to keep a man. Ladies, there is absolutely nothing, zero, zilch, nink. I don't know how many different ways to say no, not, none, zero. Nothing you can do to keep a man
that don't want to be kept.
Period. I don't care if you wash his drawers, cook his favorite meals, have 10 babies. If he does not want to be with you, he's not going to. I ain't gonna say he ain't gonna be with you. He may be there physically, but emotionally he may be disconnected. Because some men stay out of obligation.
I don't know why I started checking on that part. It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional. But like, some men stay out of obligation, but at the end of the day, you can't keep a man who doesn't want to be kept. Like, no matter what you do. So it's like, love yourself, learn who you are, and just and respect yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. No. And just use the tools that you have to try to make your relationship work. But if it don't work, then it just ain't gonna work. But doing these things are not gonna keep a man.
No. And at the same time, quit creating that box with what man comes on your doorstep.
That part.
Like, I think that is the biggest thing for me that I hate to see is, I talk about it all the time, the emotionless part of a man. Like, people having the expectation that a man is not supposed to be emotional. Yeah. Who said that?
Men are.
Like, who said that?
Yeah. That's a mess that.
Who started teaching that? I mean, I'm pretty sure it started back.
We grew up with all of these ideas of how we are supposed to be as people, and our cultures or whatever teach us or whatever. But all that stuff stems back. Somebody, just because that's how we were taught, because sometimes there's really no real reason. A lot of times there's really no real reason why we do the things that we do and the choices that we make, because this is tradition, basically. You know what I mean? I told you that story about that girl in that pot, that roast. I can't remember, but I'm gonna have to look it up. You remember I was telling you how it was a story that I heard, and if anybody can understand the story that I'm talking about, drop it in the comments if it doesn't come to my mind. But I was watching or reading or listening to something. I think I was listening to something, and they were talking about the traditions, and the why we do the things we do. And basically, if I can recall the story right, it was a woman who cut off a particular part of. Let's just say it's a roast, because I do not remember the story verbatim. But let's just say she cut off a part of the roast, and the daughter asked her, why did she do it? She said, because my mother did it. So she went, you remember that story? So she went to the mother, and her grandmother asked her, why did she do it? She said, because my mother did it. They could not give her a reason. So she went to her great grandmother and asked her, now I don't know if this is a real story, but
It makes sense, though.
But it makes sense. She went to her great grandmother and asked her, "Why do you cut the part of the meat off or whatever?" Let's just say again, it's the roast. Why do you cut it off? And she said, "Oh, so it will fit in this pot." And when I heard that story, I was like, a lot of the things that we do,
she had the real reason, but everybody after her
just
was
copying
her. Yeah.
But they didn't know why they were doing it.
Yeah.
But they were making it seem like this is what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily a lot of stuff we do, and it's really no rhyme or reason to why we do it.
Yeah.
There's really, it was somebody decided this is what it should be, and we just been running with it. And we will condemn people for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will condemn. It's like I told you how hats, men in the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
My son was like, "Why I gotta take off my hat when these women walking around here with church hats on in the building? Why I gotta take off my hat?" And it's like, it's a sign of respect to whom?
Yeah.
Who am I not respecting because I'm not taking off my hat?
Yeah.
And we looked into that, and I can't remember. It was some old ancient mess.
Like during the times of nights and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I don't even think it really had anything to do directly with that. It had something to do with something else. I can't remember. It was just like
no reason that you really know.
Right. You just following someone's tradition, but that tradition does not make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever said men can't show emotion because they're weak.
I have a sidebar about that.
Huh.
I was reading a thread on social media the other day where somebody had asked, why don't you express yourselves or show your emotion to your woman? I think then the woman was like, it makes me feel, basically saying like, it makes me feel like you don't trust me or you can't confide in me. So the men were commenting, I think it was like a Twitter thread that somebody copied or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the men were commenting, it was like, first of all, you turned that around into a you problem.
Oh, we know
right?
about
Because
the
they're
you
like,
problems.
why didn't, you're saying, why won't you be emotional? It hurts my feelings that you don't tell me what you're going through. How did I turn that around from being a his problem, right, to now being a my problem? That was the first thing they said. Mm-hmm. Then they were like, because when we break down to you, when you leave us, you use it against us. I've seen that too.
Make me see that.
Like, if you have I ain't gonna say a crybaby because but if you have a man that doesn't mind being emotional, when you break up with him, because you're encouraging him, you can cry on my shoulder.
Right.
But then you break up with him, be like, man, that weak nigga, I don't want to like that.
Yeah.
People do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. They do.
People do that. Then they were saying, women really don't understand what they're going through. Like nothing, they don't do it because of what they get from women.
Okay, I can see that.
And then there was, somebody said another example of like turning around, like if I express to you what's bothering me, then you'd be like, yeah, because I did that too today.
So now
like,
you gotta relate to everything and make it about you. Okay.
When I need that moment as a man,
right?
Because I don't have the luxury of having that moment all the time as like a woman does.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
But then the other part of that is that goes back to communication. Mm-hmm. Like you got it. Like we were talking about with the love languages, you also need to communicate these things, like in a relationship. And a lot of things people do not discuss in relationships. Some people really get in relationships and they don't get deep. Mm-hmm. They not even before they get in relationships, in the getting to know you process, they don't ask the questions, they don't have the conversations, and then next thing you know, they together, married, house, kids, and they never did that work. So it's hard to exist in that relationship. Because you really with somebody, you really don't really know them.
Yes.
You really don't know them.
Yes.
And it's communication.
Yeah.
Communication.
So my encouragement is, listen. I know for me, I have things that I like to do that are not really typically looked at as the woman's role. I like building stuff. I like fixing stuff. I like washing my car. Yeah. I like doing all of those things, except for taking out the trash, and I don't like cutting grass. But other than
my granddaddy told me when I was little, baby, leave this grass alone.
I just don't. Those are the things I don't like. You know what I'm saying? But the other stuff,
but
I feel like I could do. If I had to, I would.
Right, you would pitch in, right, and help.
But I have a habit of I like to get things done.
That
too.
part.
Even
if you don't like it.
it's not any shade to my husband or nothing, but like an example, I was 8 months pregnant with my youngest. We had a crib to put together. He was working, I wasn't. So I was 8 months pregnant on the floor putting that crib together. He come home looking at me like, "Are you crazy or what?" Like, but I'm not handicapped.
Right.
I'm just pregnant.
And then we also, like you said, we as women sometimes it's like when we want something done, we want it done right then.
Yeah.
In our minds, it's like we want it done right then. And, you know, that's just a whole other discussion. Like, why are we this way?
I don't know.
Why are we? No, I want it done now. Like, not now, right now. Like, and I was like that with my children. When if I ask you to do something, I want it done right now. Why are we this way?
I don't know, girl.
I don't know.
But I'm encouraging y'all cousins out there.
Okay.
If there are things that you want to do that are typically not looked at as being a woman's role or whatever, just do you.
Just do you.
But have a conversation with, let's say, your spouse or somebody. You know, you need to open up and let them know and really have a conversation of what expectations your significant other has as well. As far as gender roles, you gotta be on the same page.
Right.
But don't box yourself in and don't box them in either.
Right.
Have the conversation.
Because we do tend to leave the men out to dry sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of times. I mean, and that, again, that's a whole other conversation. Everything has its own, it's a cause and effect. But we do assume men in a lot of different ways. I'm gonna take out the whole emotional part because I want someone who can be in touch with their feelings, because if you can't be in touch with your feelings, you can't be in touch with mine.
Yeah.
So, and I have feelings.
Yeah.
I can be a hard ass sometimes, but I have feelings. There's a softer side of me. I have feelings. Just a little bit. Ski taste. You are not a, you're emotional. You are emotional. You're not a crybaby. You're not a crybaby, but you are emotional. I just be like, girl, get it together.
I know. I can't help it. I'm a softie.
I'm like, I used to talk to her, asking her, but like, but why? Why do you feel? Why is this affecting you this way?
I don't know, cause.
But I wasn't always like that myself, so it's, you know, it's part of my growth, you know. So yeah. So let's move into the social memory. The social memory, yes. What's your social memory for today?
So my social memory is from 3 years ago. I like to share my real life conversations with my children on social media. One, again, as we said before, a reflection and see how much they've grown in the kind of conversation they have. Plus, my kids be comical sometimes, and I'll be like, I gotta share this with the world because this was funny, you know. So one of my memories is from 3 years ago. So the conversation was with my youngest daughter, and it said, Mom, that says woman, it has the word men in it. And so I said, do you know why? And she said no. And I said, God took a part of the first man's rib to create a woman. She said, wait, we have meat in us? So, you know, I did a face palm, you know. And she said, well, I hope that it wasn't Daddy. So I said, no, his name was Adam, and God created Eve. And she was very relieved and said, woo, I'm so glad that it wasn't Daddy. So that messed her up. Yeah,
she was like, listen.
And what she was like, she was 6.
Okay.
6 years old. And you know, the way that they receive things sometimes can be a little off. Because she thought we do have meat in us, but it was gross to her. Like, she was thinking about ribs off the grill.
Like, for real.
Kind of ribs.
Like, what?
Like, wait a minute. You took that off the grill and put it inside
I'm not eating it anymore. I don't even want it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, and children, you know, you learn a lot from kids. You really do. I mean, they learn a lot from you, but you learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
And I really I love children who ask questions.
Yeah.
They ask questions and they're so honest.
Yeah, but like, sometimes them jokers will get you caught up.
They will get you.
How do I?
They will get
give it to them on their level. Cause
they will get you caught up. We'll have to talk about some because honey, we gotta talk about that one of these days on the things that our children has come to us with. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna have to get permission
to share?
For some things. I'm gonna have to ask my sons, is it okay? Maybe I don't have to say who it came from, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get some permission. Cause I don't want them to be like, Ma, you put all my business out in the street with this darn podcast. Whatever. But yeah.
All right, guys.
So we will see you guys on the next episode of the Cuzn Collective. Again, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the like button if you want to see more.
And make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about the Cuzn Collective.
All right, see you later, cousins.
Bye.